watching somebody play with this expressivity and executing all of these really technical, physical, seemingly impossible things, and when it all comes together, when you see the greatest of performances, it really is something magical. Oh, the stage can be a very vulnerable place, and I know, like, a lot of people criticize some soloists and some musicians for being so professional. You know, they're like, you know, they just get up there and do their job, and vulnerability is almost nowhere to be seen. But I can, although that's definitely not me, I can really sympathize with the musicians that do settle on that. You know, they go through they've done all of these millions of hours of preparation and work and focus on how can I play my instrument to the highest standard, and you don't want things interfering with that. So I think some musicians choose to get into an extremely unvulnerable state, and one that is very professional, and I'm just going to execute what I practiced. That's what the concert is. Sometimes I wish I was more capable of that. The funny journey is to have not just acceptance of your own tendencies, but actually embrace them. Try to see the beauty in your individuality, the beauty in what it is that makes you likable to some people and unlikable to others. This is just unbelievable that I'm getting to walk onto the stage in front of all these people who I know once they stop clapping are going to be silent and actually really listening to our interpretation of Beethoven. I mean, that's just such a phenomenal thing. I think the more musicians I know from all genres, the more I don't criticize or have any like disdain for the silence of a concert hall, or supposedly the stuffiness of a concert hall. I have the opposite. I have just such I have just such a feeling of gratitude towards that focus, silence, concentration. It's hard to find now in our life. It's like every place you go, there's just music or like loads of images, and everything is so noisy, both visually and orally. And I think that kind of atmosphere is just such a phenomenal thing. Starting to play violin wasn't like an epiphany for me or anything like that. I was left-handed, so I kept picking the violin up the wrong way, and I was in tears, and it was all very traumatic and totally unmusical. But then again, learning to do something like playing the violin is so hard anyway. The beginning is always rough. But I do very much remember the sort of most poignant moments. I was probably about 6 or 7, and it was when I got to play like the first sort of romantic melodies. So even something like Meditation by Massenet, or Salut d'Amour by Elgar, second movement of Bruch Violin Concerto. That was, I mean, I remember the feeling like it was yesterday, very, very distinctly. I was like moved to tears at that age, and it's actually a sort of reaction to music that, if anything, has grown throughout my life. I mean, my closest friends and music colleagues, they just make fun of me a lot of the time because I can get very emotional listening to music and playing music, like crying, chamber music concerts and all kinds of things. It's ridiculous, but I mean, that was definitely evident and was my singular closest tie to playing the violin and to the importance for me of playing the violin. I wasn't really dazzled or that excited by a bunch of virtuoso pieces. I wasn't really taken by the kind of pyrotechnics of everything. That was never my first and foremost, what I was either moved by or excited by. It just naturally wasn't. And I think people's desire for that uplift and for that kind of hope, and sometimes escapism, although I would always rather music wasn't escapism, but rather something that is incredibly sort of enriching and allows you to face life rather than just escape from it. I think people's desire for it is as strong as ever, if not more.